Okay, when we look at the keys of D, E, and A, similar patterns in all three keys. Similar patterns. So let's look at those keys. So if we were to do the shape for the key of D, we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we're talking about the 1, 3, 5. That's all. So D, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the key of D. Now let's change an interval on the key of D. So to change the interval, you could take the bottom note or the top note, not the middle note, just the tops or the bottom, and you invert those. When we talk about inversion, we talk about we move it up. So I could move the D up here, or I could move the A down here. And those are what we call inversions, okay? So this is the root because I'm on D, and I'm using the 1, 3, 5, my 1, 3, and 5 finger here. Now I'm gonna go to the first inversion, and I'm using my 1, 2, and 5 finger. And now I'm gonna go to the second inversion, put this F sharp up top, and 1, 2, 4, okay? So we have root, first inversion, second inversion. That's in the key of D. Now let's try it in the key of E. I'm adding my left hand, 1, 3, 5. So this was my root in D. Look, my root in E is the same thing. Same with my root for A. So same shape for all three keys. We're in the key of E. This is my first inversion, my root for 1, 3, 5. This is my first inversion, 1, 2, 5. And then this is my second inversion, 1, 2, 4. Okay? So root, first inversion, second inversion for the key of E. Now, let's go to the key of A. This is the first inversion. This is the root. I keep saying first. This is the root for the key of A. I'm going to put A on top. That's my first inversion. D flat on top or C sharp. That's my second inversion. Okay? Root, first inversion, second inversion. All right, so now let's add this left hand. So now let's play around with the first inversion, or with the root in all keys. So here's a root for D, 2, 3, 4. The root for E, 2, 3, 4. Here's a root for E. Just pick your hands up, you just lock them in place. They're locked in place, and I'm gonna do the root for A. Okay, there we go. So once again, here we go with D, and root for D. Now we go for the root for E, and now we go for the root for A, 3, and so those are the roots. Now, we talked about the first inversion. The first inversion shape is going to be the same for all three keys. So if I go to the first inversion for D, I'm going to keep the same shape and do the same thing for E. And I'm going to do the same thing for the first inversion in A. I'm going to move my bass line with my notes though. Okay, so first inversion for D is here. Lift my hands up, same shape for the first inversion of E. Lift my hands up, same shape for the first inversion of A. And there we have it. All right, all three versions. Now, how about let's do the second inversion. Okay, so here's the second inversion. The second inversion for D. Right here. Lift those hands up, same shape, second inversion for E. And notice that my second finger is on my note, and then my second inversion for A, right here. I just have those fingers locked in place. So let's try the second inversion for D. 2, 3, second inversion for E, and 1, 2, 3, 4, second inversion for A. 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's how that works. So how about if we do some play, just playing like keeping time, and we go first a root, root for A. Come back to the root for E, back home for the root for D. Now, let's do the second, that was a root. So now let's do the first inversion for D. First inversion for E, First inversion for A. First inversion back for E. First inversion for D. Good, 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 good. Now let's put that F sharp on top, and let's do the second inversion for these keys, starting with the key of D. 1, 2, 3. Key of D, first and second inversion. Second inversion for the key of E. Second inversion for the key of A. Back to the second inversion for E. Back to the second inversion for D. All right, now let's have some fun with it. So we'll go from the root, first inversion, root, first inversion, root, second inversion, root, first inversion, and root, first inversion, root, for all three keys. So let's start with D. Here we go, D, root, first inversion. I'm going slow, root, first inversion. Now E, root, first inversion, root, first. Now A, root, first inversion, root, first inversion. All right? Now we can pick up speed a little bit and do it twice to E and then to A. All right, now let's go back home again and let's try the first inversion to the second inversion. Let's play around with that. Start with D, first inversion, second inversion. Notice I hit the bass line every time I hit it, every time I hit the note. First inversion. Now I'm going to hit the bass line again, which is my left hand. Now I'm going to go to first inversion in A, second inversion in A. Now let's pick it up a little bit, first to second, first to second. So E, A. All right. So now let's try all three inversions. So we'll go root, first, second, root, first, second in all three keys. All right. We'll start with D. Here we go with D. 1, 2, 3, and root, first, second, back to first. Root, first, second, back to first. And now to A. Root, first, second, back to first. All right, let's try that again. Root, first, second, back to first, and root for E, first, second, back to first, and now to A. Root, first, second, back to first. All right, so now if we did some playing around, so if I say, here we go, root for D, and let's do the second for E. Second for E. And then let's do the first for A. Yeah, that was fun, right? Now let's try the first for D. Let's try the root for E. And then let's try the second for A. All right, now you're catching on. Now let's try the second for D. Let's try the first for E. And let's try the root for A. That's how easily these notes are interchangeable. And notice once again, these are similar shapes, and these notes are all relative and related to each other. So now let's do an alternate bass. So the alternate bass will be the first, or be the third, or the fifth. So if I'm in the key of D, that's what it could look like. The key of E, the key of A. Or I could even do on the 5 on D. The 5 of E, the 5 of A, back to D. All right, so play around with that and see what you can do with it. But similar shapes. That's so important. So important. All right, practice that. Great job, great job.